Australian COVID cases are rising and so is the amount of stress acne on my face. Hey guys, it's Holly and today I have a really exciting early first look at the LEGO Harry Potter 2021 Advent Calendar. So Phoenix_makes on Instagram actually managed to find the set early and picked it up and very generously offered to take videos and photos of the entire calendar for us all so we can all have a really close look at it, and I can give you guys sort of more of my in-depth thoughts as we have a look at all of the builds up close. So just note, I don't have this in hand. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get it as it hasn't come out in Australia yet. So I can't comment on the stability of the builds or anything like that. But luckily Phoenix has given us sort of his thoughts and breakdown or anything like that. So if you guys want to check out his Instagram, and even he has an Etsy store for anyone who's a big Harry Potter fan and would like some like custom props and merchandise, I will leave that all linked in the description below. So please go and thank Phoenix in the comments down below, and a huge shout out to him for letting us all have a really close look at this stuff early. I'm really excited. And overall, after seeing all of these builds and minifigures up close and sort of just the overall design of the calendar, I am a really big fan of this one. I think it probably has to be my favorite out of the three so far. Now careful, if you do not want the advent calendar to be spoiled for you, I will be showing off every single build. However, in the video, I will leave the entire thing out of order just in case you want some sort of surprise when you open it so that you don't know what you're getting each day. And then at the very end of the video, I will talk through the entire order of the set. So first up we have the box with this really nice box art on the inside of a snowy Hogwarts. It looks very pretty, and then when you lift it up, the base of this one actually has a really nice pattern and you'll see sort of more of the board game thing. So I feel like you'd sort of start at number 1 where Privet Drive is and then work your way around all of these little blue squares until you get to the very end. And you'll also see that there are spaces to put some of the builds. It sort of gives you instructions and walks you through pretty much the beginning plot of the Philosopher's Stone. But the first thing we're going to look at is Harry Potter, which is quite unfortunate as his torso is actually the exact same as Diagon Alley. And although that's the same, the figure is actually technically different, and that all comes down to the different face print used. But this face print isn't anything in particular, it's the same old Harry Potter face. Now I get why this figure is used in this set. It works really well with the story that they're trying to do. However, it's incredibly frustrating because that figure was sort of a big exclusive and a big draw to people to buy Diagon Alley. And it's really unfortunate that a year later it comes in a significantly cheaper set. Now this is good at the same time because it means it's more available for everyone else. You don't have to spend that ridiculous amount in order to get Diagon Alley. But considering the whole fact that it was in a secret box and it was a big surprise and it was meant to be sort of this big exclusive thing, they were literally advertising Diagon Alley with look how many exclusive figures there are. So it really is quite frustrating in that regard, and honestly because of the fact that it is reused pieces, I was actually able to make the figure myself. Next up we have Dudley in his pajamas from the beginning of the Philosopher's Stone, and I really like the design of this figure. He's reusing the same head and hair that he was in the Privet Drive set from 2 years ago, and he has a brand new printed torso where you can see sort of a little bit of his gut on the front, and then luckily on the back he actually has a little pigtail, which I just think is really cute. Next up is Hermione. Now Hermione, Draco and Ron all shared the brand new sort of plain Hogwarts torso that you'll see Hermione wearing and sort of all the students wearing at the very beginning of the Philosopher's Stone before they get sorted into their houses. And this is something that we have not seen since 2001 in the Sorting Hat set, as well as the first ever Hogwarts Express. So it's really good to see an updated version of that, and it looks really nice and clean. I do honestly though wish that Harry also had these same robes. That way you could sort of get all 4 of them. I feel like I'm gonna have to buy an additional one of these figures off Bricklink and then stick an old Harry head on it so that I can have Harry in his robes too, since all of them do show up to Hogwarts wearing them. But besides that, Hermione's got the same head and hair that she always does. Next up is Draco, and you can get a better look at the torso print now that we don't have Hermione's hair in the way. And you can also see that on the back, the hood is printed in sort of that regular dark bluish grey, since again, you don't have a sorted house. But otherwise, Draco is the exact same as any other Draco figure, having that same grumpy head and bright yellow hair. Our next figure is Griphook, and shockingly, they actually have a new printed head for him. I mean, it sort of makes sense considering the CMF heads are usually exclusive. However, they did reuse Fred and George's in Diagon Alley, so I was sort of expecting Griphook's to be the same, but luckily it is different. He has the same hair piece thingy with the ears that he did in the CMF series, and he also has the exact same torso as Ollivander from Diagon Alley. So again, that one's not exclusive anymore, but this also appeared in this year's minifigure pack, so it already kind of ruined it earlier in this year. And Griphook also comes along with a golden key. Next up, we have Ron Weasley, and he seems to come with one of the chocolate frog tiles in this set, which unfortunately it looks like we're not getting any new different style of chocolate frog cards. It's all the same ones from the sets earlier this year. And in this case, this one came with the Salazar Slytherin one, and then Ron also comes with a chocolate frog, which I think is really cute. It just reminds me exactly of the Hogwarts Express moments in that film. And again, he has the same torso as Hermione and Draco, and the same old Ron Weasley head and hair that we're used to 100 times at this point. Now, the first build we're going to look at is the Leaky Cauldron sign, and this build is pretty simple, but the main appeal here is the Leaky Cauldron sort of like flag piece itself, which is printed and looks incredibly nice and is going to be a really nice compliment to anyone who does have that Diagon Alley set. Even though we don't have a Leaky Cauldron building, I'm personally going to sit this up over there. Besides that, the build really doesn't have that much to it. It's using very minimal, very simple pieces. Next up is a Privet Drive fireplace, and because it's Christmas, the LEGO designers have decided to stick a little 2x2 wreath on there with some holly hanging down on the top, which I think is pretty cute. And attached to the side, you'll see that there is a brown broom as well as a black shovel, which I guess is pretty cute to sort of give it some like decoration or something like that. And the actual fireplace, you can attach some of the letters to and make it look like they're sort of falling out of the front. Now, this Privet Drive fireplace is pretty bulky at the back in order to create a little gap for you to throw the letters down. It's a pretty neat play feature, and here's a sort of a better photo looking at that. Otherwise, yeah, I think the one in Privet Drive is a lot better, but it's still a pretty neat inclusion and ties in nicely to the story. Next up, we have a Gringotts cart, which is actually one of my favorite builds of the set so far. It's very simple, but incredibly effective and looks a lot like the ones in the films. You've got the little wheels on the side there, you've got a little clip piece at the front with a singular translucent stud attached to it to be the lights. Then at the back you have some of those sort of like weird angular pieces, again with two transparent studs meant to be lights. And then at the top there is one of those like 2x4 jumper plates so that you can attach both Griphook and Harry, and you can sort of put them side to side, that way they can both see rather than sort of being stacked on top of each other. And I think for an advent calendar build of this is incredibly cute. Next up, we have a King's Cross Station trolley, and this looks pretty similar to the one that was in the Polybag a couple of years ago. You've got a jumper plate there in order to sort of stack some things. You could stack Hedwig, you could stack a letter, both of which do end up coming in this calendar. But the rest of it is just, it's kind of boring. You've got some wheels at the bottom, you've got some sort of panel pieces to make it look like it's a bit more contained, and then you've got a little angled piece at the back there acting as a handle. I feel like this could have been a tiny bit better, but again, it's an advent calendar, so it's using very minimal pieces, but it's nothing to get too excited over. And since this is an advent calendar, of course you cannot have it without a good old Christmas tree, and I really like the design of this one. And it has all stood up on a round 2x2 sort of cylindrical dish at the very bottom. This build looks very clean and I'm a really big fan of it. Next up, we've got 4 little separate objects, that being just the good old regular Hedwig with her wings enclosed. You also get a second chocolate frog card, which this one is the silver Dumbledore. You also have another chocolate frog, as well as the printed 1x2 platform 9 3/4 ticket, which is definitely one of the big highlights here. I love the printing on this piece. It looks absolutely incredible. The amount of detail in it, it's so cute, and something we've never seen in LEGO Harry Potter before, which I'm a really big fan of. At the top it says London to Hogwarts, and then of course it's got platform 9 3/4 and all of the details around the border. I love this piece, it's just adorable. Speaking of platform 9 3/4, next up is a little archway with a platform 9 3/4 sign, which I imagine is sort of supposed to be the platform 9 3/4, like the literal platform, you know, the one that's like in the Hogwarts Express, which I wonder how well that's probably going to be implemented into that set. Like, could you combine it? Potentially. It does look a bit short and the design does look quite different, but I really like the platform 9 3/4 sort of printed piece on the front. I think that looks really, really slick. However, when you turn it around, you can see some gray mixed in with all of the tan, which I'm not a huge fan of. I really wish they just used sort of the tan pieces with the studs on the top. I know they exist. I've got them in my own collection. I feel like it just would have looked a bit more slick and a bit more clean. I guess you only want to display this from the front though anyway, but there it is. Big fan of that print. Next up has to be one of my favorite inclusions out of this entire advent calendar, and that is the little cake box that Hagrid brings Harry for his birthday. And then on the inside of this little 3x3 box, you have a Happy Birthday Harry cake. Now this is built up using two pieces. You get a regular 2x2, and then on the top you get the printed Happy Birthday Harry piece, which I absolutely love. I was really hoping that this was going to be included at some point in LEGO Harry Potter, so I'm really glad to see it in the advent calendar. It fits really nicely as well with Dudley in this set, and I'm a huge fan of this one. Next up, we have a tiny little Gringotts desk, and this is to go along with Griphook, which the build of this is incredibly simple. You've got the little light at the top, you've got some of those really nice, like, curved architecture pieces at the bottom, a little bit to stand, and even a place for the goblins to stand up to give them some height and sort of look over everyone. I feel like this would be very, very easy to replicate, and I'd love to see a bunch of these all stacked up next to each other in some sort of like Gringotts interior mock, because considering the size and how sort of minifigures scale accurate it looks really good, and I feel like it's incredibly accurate for such a small amount of pieces used. Next up is a notable exclusion from the Diagon Alley set last year, and that is the wall entrance. Now, I personally don't quite agree with the color scheme that's used here, that being a bunch of nougat and dark orange pieces. I personally think that the dark red bricks would have worked a lot better. That's personally what I used in order to make like a moving entrance. However, I'm just glad it's been included here. And since it's an advent calendar, it's really not that exciting. You just get two separate builds that are pretty much exactly the same, and you just turn one of them upside down and suddenly they can slot together like so. Our next build is a Privet Drive sign, which is pretty disappointing considering it is pretty much exactly the same as the one in the Privet Drive set. I guess the advantage here is that it looks a bit more secure, actually using some of those round 1x1 pieces, which I'm a big fan of. It also has a printed Privet Drive tile, unlike the set which was a sticker, so I guess that's a pretty big win too. Otherwise, it's really nothing too special, though I guess, yeah, the print's nice to have. Next up is probably one of the weakest builds, and it looks like just a table to put inside the leaky cauldron. It's just got two metallic silver mugs as well as a trans black sort of bottle, I guess. It's nothing too exciting. Definitely the weakest build in this set so far. Next up is a Gringotts vault door, and honestly, again, this one feels incredibly weak, and I feel like that purely comes down to the fact that this is an advent calendar, so it has to be a small build. It works and it looks like what it's supposed to, but I feel like if this was just done properly on like a proper scale, you'd get all of the detail and things that you want. But again, I guess it works well for the advent calendar story, but it's really nothing special. The pieces are nothing special. It does what it's supposed to, but it could be better. Next up, we have a Great Hall table, because of course it is not a Harry Potter advent calendar without a Great Hall table. And this year we've got a baguette, we've got a pumpkin, as well as this tiny plate with two cherries, which the plate is actually one of those small dish pieces on top of those like modified studs with the little bit in the middle, which is pretty creative honestly and takes up a lot less space than the actual plate pieces. But the build for the rest of the bench is really stock standard, really simple, nothing we really haven't seen before. Next up, we have a book and the return of the Ollivander 1 box. So the book is nothing special. It is just a plain brown book with a plain 1x2 tan tile on the inside, just some empty parchment. But the Ollivander 1 box is what I am most excited for, because these aren't on bricks and pieces, and I feel like Ollivander's one shop, you need tons of 1 boxes. So again, I'm really happy that this is in here, and on the inside, you do have Harry's wand. And the last build is 100% the weakest and just sort of feels sort of thrown in there for not really any good reason, I imagine. And that is this Harry Potter Hogwarts themed spinner in order to create the sort of board game thing. Now this, unfortunately, spoilers ahead, is day 24 of the calendar. So if you're not a young kid buying this advent calendar, unfortunately day 24 is going to be pretty disappointing, which, yeah, I mean, the spinner for what it is works really well, but I just think the whole board game aspect of the advent calendar isn't too strong altogether, so I'm not a huge fan of it. And considering that is a printed tile as well, I just wish we could have gotten something a bit better. This and the Leaky Cauldron table are definitely my least favorites. So that is the entirety of the LEGO Harry Potter advent calendar, and like I said, I think this is incredibly strong. Do I think it has some of the best builds out of the entire advent calendars that we've gotten? Not necessarily, but I really like how well this entire calendar ties together. I think that is incredible. Now, I did ask Phoenix what his thoughts on the calendar were, so I could give you guys just some sort of insight, and this is what Phoenix had to say. As far as thoughts go, I'd say that it is a really strong calendar, probably my favorite. I'm a sucker for Harry Potter printed pieces, and this set has the ticket, cake, Leaky Cauldron, platform 9 3/4, and Privet Drive signs all printed, plus with new robes, Dudley, and 2 Chocolate Frog cards. It is a really strong addition to any Harry Potter LEGO collector. So speaking of how the calendar tells sort of the story, here is the order of everything, so turn off now if you do not want to know what order everything is in. So in day 1 you get the Privet Drive sign, then you get Harry, the fireplace, the letters, shovels, and wreath for the fireplace, the cake in a box, Dudley, the Leaky Cauldron sign, the table with mugs and a bottle, the brick wall entrance, the Gringotts desk, grip hook, the Gringotts minecart, the Gringotts vault door, the Gringotts gold/treasure, the wand, one box and book, the owl, chocolate frog, and the chocolate frog card, as well as the platform 9 3/4 ticket, Harry's trolley, Ron with the chocolate frog and chocolate frog card, the platform 9 3/4 entrance, Hermione, the Great Hall table with the food, Draco, a Christmas tree, and then lastly is the game spinner. So overall, besides the game spinner, I think this calendar is really well done, and I love the fact that it tells the story. I feel like the Leaky Cauldron table is definitely one of the weakest along with the game spinner, because I just know personally I'm not going to use the game spinner. Once again, a big shout out to Phoenix Makes, because now it actually means that I'm going to open up my Harry Potter advent calendar in December, and we'll probably do like daily openings on Instagram or something like that if you guys are interested, so I'm extremely hyped. So let me know your thoughts on the advent calendar and all of the special printed pieces in the comments down below, as well as a big thank you to Phoenix. And like I said, his Etsy store and like all of his products will be linked in the description down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below. And until next time guys, I'll see you later.